Hello and welcome to this special discussion on the ongoing developments surrounding the Assam government's decision to offer an olive branch to the ULFA Independent Chief Paresh Barua to come to the talks table. Well, after the decision by the Assam government to make an open appeal to the rebel leader to come for negotiations, a lot of developments have taken place. First, Barua himself indicated that the ULFA Independent will be ready for talks, but only if the core issue of sovereignty is discussed. This has been still seen as a positive indication by the Assam government, which has said that both the centre and the state have taken note of this development. Meanwhile, the sequence of events also generated a lot of interest all around, with even the ULFA General Secretary Anup Chetia offering to mediate if the government of India wants him to do so. Not only this, members of ULFA Pro Talks in Eastern Assam's Kakopathor, that is in Tinsukia, also want Paresh Barua to come to the negotiating table. A lot of other leaders have also pitched in, saying it's high time that talks should be held, and probably there is no harm even in discussing sovereignty. Before we start the discussion, let's listen in to some of the reactions from the ULFA, the Pro Talks ULFA cadres. Our Bureau Chief, Eastern Assam Bureau Chief, travel all the way to Tinsukia to get their reactions on the ongoing peace initiative made by the Assam government. Let's listen in what they want.
Team Northeast Live had come here at the Kakopathar designated camp of ULFA to get a feel of the grassroots level cadres who are at this designated camp, and even as there are talks of the talks process between ULFA Independent and Center goes around, we are here to know about the opinion or feeling, whatever we say about from the grassroots level cadres here at Kakopathar. So, apnaloke yate aji বহুদিন হল আছে ইয়াতে কেম্পত 2008 চনৰ পৰা আছে। আপোনালোকে কি ভাবে এতিয়া আলোচনা প্ৰক্ৰিয়াটো আকৌ আৰম্ভ কৰাৰ কথা হৈ আছে?
আলোচনা প্ৰক্ৰিয়াটো আকৌ আলোচনা মানে সেইটো ওলাই আছে পঁচবছা আমাৰ মহাশয় অহা আলোচনাৰ বিষয় লৈ। যদি পঁচবছাশয় আহে তেতিয়াহ'লে আমি ভাবোঁ আহক, তেখেতো ৰাইজৰ যিটো দাবী আলোচনা মানে আহিবৰ কাৰণে তেখেতে আহক, সহযোগ কৰক আমাৰ লগত। আমাৰ যিটো আলোচনা হৈছে তেখেতসকলৰ লগত, আমাৰ মহাশয়ৰ লগত তেখেতসকলে আহি সহযোগ কৰক, ভাল পাম তেখেতসকল আহিলে মানে। যেনেকৈ এতিয়া NDAB যেনেকৈ আজি শান্তি চুক্তি কৰিছে, তেখেতসকলৰ প্ৰতিটো গোট ওলাই আহি আজি শান্তি চুক্তি কৰিলে, ঠিক তেনেকৈ পঁচবছা আহি আমাৰ শান্তি আলোচনাত যোগ দিয়ক, ভাল লাগে, আমি আগবাঢ়ি জনাম।
সাৰ্বভৌমত্বলৈ আলোচনা কৰাটো প্ৰতিজন মানুহেই বিচাৰিছে বাৰু, অকল আমাৰ কেম্পৰ বুলিয়ে নহয়। সেইটো মানে সেইটো হৈ আলোচনা কৰিলে মানে চবৰ কাৰণে ভাল হ'ব বুলি ভাবোঁ। আৰু
পঁচবছৰ মহাশয়ক মাতো আমি, আহক আমাৰ মাজলৈ আহি পেলাই আলোচনাখন আগবঢ়াই নিয়ক, সেইটো একান্ত হেৰি কৰোঁ মানে আশাবাদী।
আমাৰ ফালেও আহ্বান জনাইছোঁ যে পঁচবছা মহাশয় ছাৰে আহক আলোচনালৈ, সেয়াই মোৰ ফালৰ পৰা কয় আহ্বান।
সমমূত্ৰৰ ওপৰত আলোচনা কৰিব বিচাৰে, সেইটো মানে টেবুলত টকছত হ'ব। সমমূত্ৰৰ ওপৰত তেখেতসকলে কি ধৰণে এৰাধাৰ কৰিব পাৰে এই মুহূৰ্তত। হয়, আজি বহুতখিনি মানে আমাৰ সতীৰ্থৰ হেৰালোঁ, বহুত আমাৰ নেতাৰ হেৰালোঁ। তেখেতৰ যিটো দাবী, চৰকাৰে যদি অসম চৰকাৰে যদি গভৰ্ণমেণ্ট ইণ্ডিয়ান গভৰ্ণমেণ্টে যদি গুৰুত্ব সহকাৰে লয় বা টেবুলত টকছত কৰে, তেখেতে নিশ্চয় আহিব পাৰে। আৰু তেখেতক অহাটো আমি পঁচবছা মহাশয়ক অহাটো আমি বিচাৰোঁ। প্ৰতিজন সদস্যই, প্ৰতিজন অসমীয়া জনগণে তেখেতক বিচাৰে আলোচনালৈ আহিবৰ কাৰণে।
So clearly the mood is that Paresh Barua should come forward for talks. It depends on the government of India whether only the issue of sovereignty will be taken up for discussion, but there's no harm in discussing anything. But the mood all across is that it's high time there should be talks, there should be discussions, there should be negotiations. Especially we have seen recently as far as the NDFB laying down arms is concerned, a big development in the BTAD, now the BTR area. And as we just heard, those ULFA members in Tinsukia, everybody wants Paresh Barua on board and also respecting the cause that has been run since decades. They believe that there is a solution as far as talks are concerned. Not only are the political leaders, the ruling leaders and the ULFA members, the Pro Talks ULFA members want Paresh Barua to come for talks, but also civil society groups, the student bodies also want the government of India and Assam government to hold a dialogue, a meaningful dialogue with the ULFA independent leader. Let's listen in to what Samujal Bhattacharya, ASU chief advisor, had to say.
কা বিৰোধী আন্দোলনৰ ফলত এতিয়া চৰকাৰে মনত পৰিছে যে সমস্যাবোৰ দেখোন সমাধান হ'ব লাগিছিল আৰু এতিয়া আমি বিচাৰো যে আলফাকে ধৰি আন সশস্ত্ৰ সকলো সংগঠনৰ লগত চৰকাৰে নিৰৱচ্ছিন্নভাৱে ৰাজনৈতিক উদ্যোগেৰে সমস্যাসমূহৰ স্থায়ী সমাধান কৰিব লাগে
Yes, time for a political dialogue. That's what the ASU chief advisor feels. To carry this discussion forward, I'm being joined in the studios by Rajkumar Sharma of the BJP Assam, treasurer of the BJP in Assam. Our Eastern Assam bureau chief Ripunjoy Das joins us from Dibrugarh. Ripunjoy, of course, was in Tinsukia earlier in the day and had an interaction with the Alpha cadres, the Alpha members there. In course of the discussion, I'll also be joined over the phone by Professor Prasanjit Biswas of Nehu Shillong. If I can come to Ripunjoy Das first. Ripunjoy, you had an interaction with the Alpha members in Tinsukia. What was the mood in the camp?
Navaran, the mood as of now, as of General Iri, if you talk, was that of positiveness and affirmative. Their views were in an affirmative way because they have been staying at that designated camp since 2008. So it's almost 13 to 14 years they have been staying in this camp. A better way to say that languishing in these camps with a stipend of a meager 3,000 rupees. As you saw that they are expressing themselves that there are 70 cadres who were listed in that camp, but only a few were there. Why this neglect? They have come across with us with their open views that they have been neglected by the authorities and the government concerned in even providing the basics. So, as of overall, they were very much enthusiastic when this process of there have been talks of that the dialogue will be resumed once again. They are yes, they are the foot soldiers. They are the grassroots level cadres, but they still have some hope now that the dialogue will be started at any point of time from now. And they want the government also to take ahead this process.
Can it be said that the peace agreement with the NDFB has yet again renewed hope, and on top of that, Ripunjoy, with the Assam government making an open appeal to the Alpha Independent to come to a negotiating table, this is being seen as a massive development, a very positive development by the pro-talks faction also?
Definitely, Navran, because this is what they had opined. If in fact NDFB asked, if we talk about who were the last one to come on board among the other NDFB groups, NDFB have been sharing camps. They have been staying together. They have been even operating together also under Corcom, if we do not forget, because Corcom is an umbrella organization of NSCNK, ULFA-I Independent, NDFBS, and KLO, etc. So they were operating together, and they are of the opinion now that if the government can walk the extra mile in coming for an agreement and signing the historic Boro Accord, why can't the government of India take that extra mile, walk that extra mile, and do the same for the ULFA Independent, for the larger interest of the people of Assam? So this is the view which we got, and this is definitely, they were very much enthusiastic when we met them in the camps. Navrun.
Right, Rajkumar Sharma, do you think the agreement, the peace agreement with the NDFB, that is, well, it may be too early to say, but that may prove as the turning point as far as ending insurgency completely in Assam is concerned, because it is only after this massive development that we have got, we cannot say the ball rolling, but at least some development on the ULFA independent front. So do you think it's a positive beginning, and we can indeed in the coming days and weeks see some sort of reciprocation from the ULFA independent, given the government of India also takes the right initiatives?
See, first of all, we must see one important point, that the BJP government is seriously thinking on this issue. Whether it was with Nagaland organizations, even the Bru also. Likewise, with Bodo also, the government of India and the state government, our BJP-led government in Assam also trying from last several years that the peace must prevail in the state of Assam. Because of a lot of factions, NDFB, and there are 4 factions, NDFB, then ULFA, and lot of factions and small other organizations. The state was hampering in the path of development and the infrastructure development, industrialization, everything. People were afraid to come to the Assam. Because when we sit in Assam, we don't feel that much pain, but then outsider people, when reading paper, they feel, oh, the whole Assam is disturbed. The general opinion was framed. But with the peace talk with Bodo militants, and the best part of this peace talk was all the faction of NDFB, then the civil society, then this present the autonomous council, everybody has signed that package, and I believe this is this will be turning point for the peace in Assam. Now, as far as ULFA is concerned, one faction of ULFA has already come for the negotiation, and the talks are going on in a positive direction. The major problem was that ULFA leader Paresh Barua, government was trying several times that he should also come and should solve this problem permanently. This time I personally feel that Mr. Paresh Barua is also keen in discussing and negotiating this issue. The major issue is his demand is sovereignty, whether government will agree or not. But however, we can start discussion and negotiation.
Discussions.
I feel this is my very personal opinion as a
discussions should start. Discussions
my opinion is
can be the beginning.
Discussions should start, and then the negotiation can be done. Like with NSCN also, the similar demand was there. And however, the central government started negotiating with them, and still the discussion is going on. So my opinion is, once the present ULFA-I come to the negotiation table, the permanent peace will come in Assam, and I will have the opinion.
Okay, but still, it's can we consider it the beginning? Well, I'm being joined over the phone by Professor Prasenjit Biswas. Professor Biswas, thanks so much for joining us on this discussion. Do you think, do you take this as a breakthrough of sorts? The ULFA independent chief Paresh Barua saying, well, if sovereignty, if the government of India is willing to discuss sovereignty, the core issue of sovereignty, there is no harm in negotiations. Do you think this is something new that should be taken as a breakthrough, or do you think it's the same thing the ULFA has been saying all along?
No, there's a slight change in the position of ULFA independent after the breakup of ULFA into 2 or 3 different groups. Now, Mr. Anup Chetia has made it very clear that even if Paresh Barua doesn't join the talk, they are going to go ahead with a possible talk. Now, in that context, ULFA's CNC is not very keen to join a talk where other factions are taking part. So the idea of talk has to be divided. A part of the talk has to be with Paresh Barua, and the other part of the talk will have to be with people, those who have surrendered. Now, these 2 factions and the agenda of talks cannot be mixed up together. This is something very, very important. Next, the issue is sovereignty. Now, whether an elected government can discuss sovereignty is a major constitutional issue, and it will be first of its kind for an elected government to discuss sovereignty, because sovereignty can be discussed between 2 different nations or with someone who is an external party. Now, ULFA CNC is not someone who is external completely to the Indian constitution and India's framework. Therefore, he is part of India's sovereignty. In that sense, in the Naga talk, sovereignty issue was reduced to the notion of internal sovereignty, and sovereignty of the Naga people. If in the same way sovereignty of the Assamese people, in the sense that CNC would like to define it, if it is redefined and recalibrated in a certain way, the way it will accommodate the constitutional position, then probably a discussion can begin. Otherwise, there are roadblocks in the process of even beginning a discussion. And therefore, one has to remove those roadblocks carefully by bringing in a new interlocutor, probably one who is more in tune with Paresh Barua's line of thinking.
But again, then should we say the
Right.
process has not yet begun? There are it's all through media reports that the Alpha Independent Chief and the government are communicating in a way now, and there a lot
Right.
more has to be done than just this.
Yes, there is a back-channel talk, I'm sure, and name of Ravati Phukon was really tom-tom for a while in Assam's media. But I'm not sure who is the interlocutor, and unless we know a real interlocutor negotiating and acting as a go-between the Delhi establishment and Alpha, which is now probably settled somewhere in the northern part of Myanmar and China border, unless we know who is this tangible interlocutor, it's not possible for me to really say that the talks have begun in any sense.
But again, do you think without getting the Alpha Independent on board, in a way,
Yes.
technically there
Yes.
can be no permanent peace in Assam if the government of India fails to get Mr. Paresh Barua on board?
In fact, this is a kind of political maneuvering. Unless Paresh Barua himself consents for such a talk, it will remain as a kind of a political maneuver, and that too a very crafty maneuver on the part of the state government as well as probably in a linked manner and as a part of the Home Ministry establishment in Delhi. But it really doesn't mean much, because unless there is a prior agreement about the issues which are to be discussed, which are still to be agreed upon, therefore, we have not really made much of a progress in discussing things with Paresh Barua, except that Paresh Barua has made an intent very, very clear, saying that sovereignty must be brought into discussion. So if that condition is now accommodated in a certain way, which is agreeable to Mr. Barua, then probably a new beginning can happen.
My last question to you,
Yeah,
Professor Prasenjit
sure.
Biswas. If the government of India makes an offer that we are ready to have an open-minded discussion, quote unquote, open-minded, without uttering the word sovereignty, do you think the Alpha Independent may reciprocate, given the recent developments, especially the NDFB peace accord? Personally, what do you feel?
But if you remember the larger configuration of all these insurgent outfits, which is called Southwest Asia Liberation Front, which is having its own positions in various places in Myanmar, and Alpha is still running that kind of a front of many other insurgent groups apart from NDFB. Now, even if NDFB has broken away and joined the talk, this doesn't mean that other insurgents will take the message and follow the same route. It may be that the other insurgents might harden their stance when NDFB has softened its stance because of certain internal pressures that is developed within the Bodo society. But in case of Alpha's insurgency, although there are a lot of cracks and divisions, yet it seems that a certain segment is very, very firm, and they're acting as the vanguard, as it is called in the language of the insurgency. And this vanguard is still carried on, and it is led by Paresh Barua from the front, and he has established a front of other like-minded insurgent outfits. And therefore, the situation with Paresh Barua is entirely different than the situation that was there with NDFB. Therefore, Alpha has to be tackled in a more calibrated and a nuanced manner, which probably needs to be undertaken in right earnest and by taking into account the subtleties of talking with Paresh Barma.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Prasanjit Biswas, for your perspective. If I can go to Ripunjoy Das, our East Assam Bureau Chief. Ripunjoy, you have today interacted with the Alpha members, the Pro Talks Alpha members, keeping the Alpha independent side apart, keeping the case of Mr. Paresh Barua, whether coming or not for talks aside, how important do you think also is it for the government of India? It is for the government of India to seal the deal, to conclude the talks with the pro-talk faction, because the members might be losing patience and want a solution, whatever it is, want an agreement to be signed.
Nabran, see, since the formation of the Alpha in 1979, Paresh Barua had been the central figure for the last 4 decades, and we all know that ULFA had a big formation in these yesteryears. It had its formation in Barak Valley, Goalpara, Nalbari, all across Tezpur and Nagaon. Whether it is now in a secluded portion, whether they are enjoying their earlier status or not, that is not the question now. The question is to bring Paresh Barua on board, because he still commands a lot of respect. As you heard, that these are all pro-talks ULFA cadres, but they are still addressing the commander-in-chief as if they are still members of a regular army. So that is what is important, yes.
Which is okay.
Okay, but and this is why Paresh Barua's presence for the talks, even to begin, I would like to disagree with Professor Biswas in this regard. Holding separate parleys with one group and another group will not hold much water, but finding a total solution
no,
with
but
assimilation of all the
Ripunjoy,
groups in one go, that will be effort.
Ripunjoy, my question to you was that uncertainty still prevails big time whether or not Paresh Barua will come for peace, for talks, will join the negotiating table. But what I'm saying is that the pro-talk faction, which has been involved with the center, with the government of India, you have been to the camp today, gauging the mood of the members, Alpha members there. Do you think at least the government of India should also look forward to close the negotiations with them, because patience may be running out? That was my question.
Yes, Navran, that is what they are going to do, because what we have gathered during our interaction a few days ago with Alpha General Secretary Anup Chetia. In fact, I met him for some other discussions. During the interaction, he said that it's in a very advanced stage, and that chapter might come. They might come up within next 2-3 months. But as you said, yes, but the main point here will be whether leaving one group out of the purview and signing an accord with whether it is the Arvindo Rajkua and Anup Chetia and Shashwat Chaudhary led faction, and leaving aside the other group will not hold much water. And there will be, as you say, that the fresh blood will be continuing to inject into Alpha Independent, as we have seen from ground zero reports during this NPK movement also, that
has reduced to a long,
has disappeared.
That has reduced to a large extent.
Issue will continue to exist.
Well, yes, that is true. It's very important. There is no two ways about it. It's very important to get the Alpha Independent on board, but probably equally important to seal the talks with the pro-talk faction. Just digressing a bit, Mr. Rajkumar Sharma, also there is a common, we just heard the ASU chief advisor today saying that, BJP is trying to find solutions to all other problems of Assam because of their stand with the CAA. Just digressing a bit, how do you address that allegation that it is just to make up for the party's stand with the CAA, that all other issues is being resolved in a war footing?
See, I can simply say it is very laughable things. If people like Samujal Bhattacharya says that BJP, because of the opposition of Ka, BJP is doing all these things. See, whatever things like Bodo peace agreement, it is not 2 days job or 5 days job. I think the BJP government must have worked for this for in last 1 and 2 years, bringing all the factions together, drafting the agreement, bringing all civic society, and so now you can understand. A CA issue has started sometime in the month of December. And then this within 2 months or 3 months, the government cannot bring everyone in the table. Second issue, I will give you the example that ALFA's Anup Chetia faction and Arvind Rajkumar faction has come out from the ALFA and have joined the negotiation table long back. So it is, you cannot correlate with Ka episode with the peace negotiation. With ALFA Paresh Barua, government always tried to approach him and always called him for the negotiation. This time I feel a positive sign because the Paresh Barua himself has made a statement that yes, we are ready to talk, but the issue is sovereignty. So only one issue is left, I think, for the talk. And when I compare the Naga episode, their demand was also a sovereignty, but then the government somehow brought them to the table for discussion and negotiation. I am very much optimistic this time because of the stand taken by Paresh Barua, that if at least you can negotiate with us. Like whatever I read in paper and I have seen in media, that the statement of Paresh Barua, we want to discuss with sovereignty. Anyhow, you come and we are ready to discuss. So this is very positive sign from the Paresh Barua. As far as Ripanjay is saying about the fresh blood entering in this, today
that has reduced
a great
considerably.
Extent. And today or tomorrow, Paresh Barua is also understanding that the ALFA is becoming weak in Assam. People have been, see, in 20 years ago, the respect which ALFA used to get, today the same respect is not
That's
there.
again a different...
But then on this occasion of positive direction, I don't want to discuss those issues. I am very happy and people of Assam will welcome ULFA-I for the negotiation table so that the peace all over the Assam can prevail in Assam.
People of Assam have always wanted the ULFA independent to come, at least in the recent times, to come to the negotiating table. Of course, they have their own stand, and it has been made clear by Paresh Barua that as long as the core issue is that of sovereignty, they do not mind discussing things. That is definitely one thing is
that
for,
will be
one thing is
sorted out.
sure. One thing is certain that is a positive sign, and probably like we have seen in the case of the NSNI, maybe very soon, that of course depends on both the government of India and the ALFA independent leadership. Very soon we might see discussions happening. But again, as Professor Prasenjit Biswas rightly pointed out, maybe we'll need to appoint an interlocutor so that the communication lines are clear, because it's very important to have a crystal clear communication line when we are trying to solve a problem like the one is at hand. Nevertheless, this can be said as another positive development, especially after the agreement, the peace accord being signed with the NDF. Thank you so much, Rajkumar Sharma. Thank you so much, Ripunjoy Das, and also Professor Prasenjit Biswas. That's a wrap of the show.